As President Trump continues his attacks on Attorney General Jeff Sessions, another one of his cabinet members is facing turmoil as well. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is now 6 months into the job, but there are signs his restructuring of the State Department might not be paying off, and that might not be his only issue. CBS News State Department reporter Kylie Atwood is in Washington. So, Kylie, there have been reports that Secretary Tillerson will leave the department by the end of the year. What are you hearing about that?
In the briefing today, spokesperson Heather Nauert flatly denied those reports. No surprise there. She said that they are plain and simple false. And when I talked to Tillerson's spokesperson, R.C. Hammond, yesterday, he was a bit more comical with me about it. He said that so long as there are no more nuclear weapons in Iran and North Korea by the end of the year, it sounds like a great plan. Obviously, he was joking there, but I think it's important to know, that he said that Tillerson's good friends, if they were really his good friends, they wouldn't be saying this. They wouldn't be saying that he's leaving the department because he's not. And I did talk to one person who worked with Tillerson when he was at ExxonMobil. And he said that he has not heard that Tillerson is planning to depart the State Department anytime soon. But he did say that it looks like Tillerson is in uncharted waters sometimes. He doesn't appear as confident as he once did when he was at ExxonMobil. So we'll have to see where these reports go. But at this moment, we can't confirm that that's happening. And the Tillerson folks around him say that it's not happening.
Interesting. Well, Kylie, you've also reported on restructuring going on at State, including folding the cybersecurity office into the Economic Bureau. How is that going over inside the State Department?
Right. So in the spring, Secretary Tillerson launched a restructure of the department. And essentially the goal was to see, let's look at this mammoth of a building. There are 75,000 employees. Let's figure out what's working, what's not, where we can cut, where we can trim. And essentially it's kind of something that he had to do, considering this administration wants to cut the State Department budget by 30%. But he also kind of phrased it as something that could be a source of good change for the department. And at first, we saw that happening in terms of surveys that they were doing, but now they're changing to action mode. And so we're seeing some of this restructure really coming to life. And that happened, it'll actually happen at the end of this week when Chris Painter, who is the State Department coordinator for cyber issues, is going to leave. And his office is going to be folded into the State Department's Economic Bureau. And so I talked to folks on both sides of the aisle who think this is a good thing and who think this is not a good thing. And I think that's going to be a recurring theme as we see this change and this restructure taking root. So one person at the department said to me, listen, Painter's office wasn't really doing a whole lot. He was kind of a talking head. And he said it's going to be payback for the people who were in that little office and now are going to be part of a bigger bureau and have to report up to some leadership there. But that's the key, leadership. And I talked to a former State Department Assistant Secretary who said that Chris Painter, who's leaving, actually did some incredible things. He pushed back on the Chinese who are trying to essentially get some global laws for the internet a few years ago, and he led those efforts to say, no, we're not going to put global laws on the internet. We're going to allow free speech to prevail. And he said, why would you let Painter go when you're going to bring his office into the Economic Bureau, and they don't even have a leader yet that's been selected by the Trump administration and has been signaled, given a green light by Congress to be a leading person at the State Department. So it's kind of some tension here that we're seeing in that there's changes happening, but there are still a lot of leadership roles that haven't been filled. Of the 32 top positions, we only have one Senate-confirmed official in, other than Tillerson at the State Department.
Wow, really interesting to hear those numbers, Kylie. Well, as someone with a CEO background, is Rex Tillerson trying to bring a kind of corporate culture to the State Department?
Well, I think that's a really good question, considering the fact that that's all Rex Tillerson has ever known. He spent his whole career at ExxonMobil, and so he often reflects on it and says that it was a place with structure. And he said that it really was efficient, it allowed people to get things done, and he has seen that the government is simply not like that. He told reporters that there were long-standing discipline processes and decision-making that grounded the corporate culture at ExxonMobil. And one would think that that might be something that he misses at the State Department when he's trying to restructure this place.
Yeah,
but his aides have pushed back and said that he's not trying to superimpose corporate culture on the State Department. So we'll just have to see how this restructure ends up turning out.
Wow, really fascinating reporting. Kylie Atwood in Washington for us. Kylie, thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.